Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, and a hey now. Welcome to our number two of the line. Talk 99.5, talk995.com, Andrew Mclain, who.com. And the Talk 99.5 app. For those of you wondering about the tower, they are working on it. And let me explain something on the tower, because I was talking to people today about it. It is a lengthy process to get to the point of a repair, such as the one that is taking place. It is not just, go buy the part from Home Depot, climb up a tower and put it on there. There's a lot of different things that have to happen, especially in a big corporate structure such as this. And so all of those steps are having to be taken to get to the point where the ultimate solution is accomplished. And so hopefully we are getting close to that solution. But in the meantime, I want to make sure that you guys have the Talk 99.5 app. If you have not, get it. If you've had it before and you think it sucks, I assure you it does not suck any longer. Because, yes, I will admit the old app was not that good, but this one that we have now is super good, super easy to use. And you can watch us. You can see me and John Bird right there from the app. A little live stream, if you will. It's kind of like those cameras. You can go online and watch a live camera of the beach.
Yes.
Like if you want to just watch the Panama City beach. It's like us.
I used to do that. I did that for years.
We're like a couple beaches.
Ooh.
You just sit there and watch us.
Yeah.
And watch the waves roll in.
I'm going to be Myrtle Beach.
You would be a Myrtle.
Hey.
I need a younger name than Myrtle. I need to be more like a
Perdido Beach.
Perdido.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
It's a little too Hispanic. How about Clearwater? It's got a little Indian vibe to it.
Yeah.
I
like that. Okay, I'm changing mine now to Ocracoke Beach.
Yeah. Okeechobee.
I don't want to be Okeechobee. I want to be Ocracoke Beach.
Yeah, all right, fine. That's fine. Anyway, if you want to get in, 205-545-9950. I'm sure everybody in the audience has got their own COVID stories. So in honor of Anthony Fauci, if y'all want to call in and tell us how Anthony Fauci really hurt you, like derailed your life in whatever way. I mean, all of us have been affected in some way or another, whether it's through jobs or vaccines or kids not being able to go to school or businesses shut down. Everybody's got a story. And so bring it on. Bring it to us, man. There's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of stuff. So the Anthony Fauci diary. The one takeaway from the Anthony Fauci diary is really a big takeaway and kind of helps everybody understand why Fauci did a lot of the things that he did during COVID. The guy got drunk on power. And how could you not get drunk on power? And listen, I don't even know that he anticipated all of this happening. He might have just been like, yeah, I'm just going to continue to be for the rest of my career this nerdy, weird kid that hangs behind the scenes and tries to handle, infectious disease problems across the U.S. or whatever. But he was thrust into the spotlight because as COVID hit, the president, Donald Trump, decided that what he wanted to do is brief the public each and every day because there was massive public interest for obvious reasons. And he wanted to make sure every single day that they were out there that Fauci was out there, that Deborah Birx was out there briefing the American people on what's going on. The problem is that because he became the face so quickly in the early days of the COVID response, and because it was very clear, very quickly that Fauci and Donald Trump were going to be bumping heads, the media latched on immediately and dubbed Anthony Fauci as a hero. All you've got to do is go back and listen to clips of the media introducing Fauci every time, which happened daily, when they brought him on their airwaves.
The single most respected voice in the pandemic. It's Dr. Anthony Fauci.
The man who's become known as America's doctor.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease doctor.
Who are seen to many as a superhero.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, American hero.
American hero, Dr. Anthony Fauci. He's like a superhero of sorts. And so from that moment, all of it went to Anthony Fauci's head. And he became the things that the mainstream media told him he was. And all of that was reflected in the Fauci diary, which will go down in history as one of the great artifacts in modern political times. Put that bad boy in the Smithsonian. Make it an exhibit where you can have some sort of AI hologram Anthony Fauci read his diary to you when you go to the Smithsonian. Make a whole big, get the chest binders, get the S&M, crotch holsters and all the other weird stuff that you got in the Smithsonian. Throw it out. Put the Anthony Fauci diary exhibit in immediately. Now, the first thing I must say is that even Anthony Fauci himself on Capitol Hill today referred to this as a diary, which is incredibly suspect for any male to call his writings a diary. It would not be difficult for Anthony Fauci to say, that's my journal, not my diary, but he prefers to, I guess, maybe he's gay. I don't know. It was just a little weird. But anyway, let's just look into Anthony Fauci's diary. You ready, John Bird? I'm just going to give you some excerpts here.
Can't wait.
And we'll just start from the top with certain points of the diary where he becomes a media darling. He becomes the face of the pandemic response. He says things like, the press is going wild with me. He said, it is not hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable persons in the world.
Oh, man.
The situation with my national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. Now, he's writing these things. Remember, he's writing these things to himself in the context of he doesn't think anybody's ever going to see it.
Dear Diary.
Dear Diary, the press is still hot and heavy about me. He sounds like he's making love to the press as a whole. No. He says in another part, POTUS seems to be enamored of me even though I am taking the spotlight away from him. He says one person even said that Tyra Banks was sexy, but that I was even more sexy than she was. This is where he really starts to feel it.
Oh, my. Oh, this is cringy.
He goes on to search the list of sexiest people. He searches for the sexiest people in whatever poll this was to look at and break down the votes as to where he landed on world's sexiest person. And he just went on and on about how people said he's sexier than Tyra Banks. Oh. And then the celebrities start calling. He says, had a great call with Barbara Streisand. I told her that I work listening to her songs on Alexa. She really did not know what Alexa was. I accidentally butt called her later in the evening. He says, I brought the phone over to Alexa and asked to play songs by Barbara Streisand. When the song came on loud and clear, she started laughing and absolutely loved it.
Oh, man, this is so cringy.
Dear Diary, donuts are being named after me. T-shirts have my picture on them and are being sold. San Francisco radio is dedicating a song to me. Coloring pictures with crayons for my picture. And this is, I mean, pages and pages of his diary talking about himself. Now, we already knew Fauci was really into Fauci by just seeing his office. Anytime he would do a live hit, TV hit from his home office, people started noticing that everything, every bit of decor in the office was Fauci related. Pictures of himself, books, the coloring books, the Fauci candles, all of it. It was all, everything in there was Fauci. It was like a Fauci museum. Could you imagine? And this goes back to what I always tell you guys. When it comes to being a liberal, you have to be at a level of narcissism that is not easily acquired. You cannot just get this. Is not a natural genetic thing that you get passed down from your parents. It's not even a learned behavior. It is a level of narcissism that can only be acquired with a superiority complex that only comes with progressivism. And especially in white people. White people in particular, they have a white savior complex. That's why when they talk about being an ally of the LGBT community or an ally of the black community, they view those people as not being able to do things on their own, and that I, as the white person, need to come save you. That's the level of narcissism I'm referring to. Dear Diary, had dinner over at Jake Tapper and Jen Tapper. Had dinner over Jake Tapper and Jen Tapper's home in D.C., terrific couple, friendship building. So he's mingling, by the way, mingling with the stars. He's mingling with the press. Had dinner at my home with Jake and Jennifer Tapper. Relaxed. Good time. Jake clearly believes that Trump is totally nuts. Going on and on. Dear Diary, POTUS invited me and Deb into his dinner office at the Oval and started telling me that as a Catholic, how much of a shame it would be if we did not do a classical Easter and Good Friday and Palm Sunday. I convinced him to essentially put Easter on hold this year. The guy that says he never made any decisions to close anything down. This is crazy.
I don't even know what to say.
Crazy. Dear Diary, extensive interview with Dan Rather. Very nice person. We related well, and he told his producer that I was a superstar.
Oh, God.
Superstar. Dear Diary, big surprise was that Bono made a video that was shown in which he lauded me as a true global hero and one of the most important people in the world over the past many decades. Amazingly, in the middle of the concert, in front of over 25,000 people, Bono dedicated a song, Miracle Drug, to me. Yes, that's right. Wasn't Bono big in the AIDS crisis, like fighting back against AIDS or whatever?
Yeah, and he was a real outspoken Christian at one time. I don't know what he is now.
But
I have no idea.
Fauci, who led the charge to fight against AIDS in the 80s, actually did the opposite and made it worse. And the gay community came out after Fauci and basically wanted him hanged. But I guess that's changed now. Dear Diary, the fashion editor for GQ magazine decided that he wanted a hip look for me. This is when he was getting a photo shoot to be on the cover of GQ. Decided that he wanted a hip look for me, so he opened my tie and shirt button, got rid of my jacket, and replaced my dress shoes with sneakers. It was very cool. Dear Diary, Fauci madness continues with multiple articles and every sort of paraphernalia and restaurant and foods named after me. Me. Dear Diary, as we walked through the different sections, people equally screamed out, "We love you, Dr. Fauci," and "We love you, Vice President Harris." The Vice President was genuinely pleased to see the attention paid to me as well as to her. Dear Diary, meeting this morning at the Pentagon, military officers came over to me wanting selfies. More than one of them actually broke into tears as they were telling me how much they appreciated me. Military officers crying to me. Gay! Fired! I'm sure Trump's already fired those guys. Joan Baez called me, and we had a wonderful conversation with her calling me an American hero. Dear Diary. Is it Joan Baez? B-A-E-Z? Who is that? Is that a singer?
I don't know.
Joan Baez will receive the Kennedy Center Award. She has invited me as her guest. What fun. Just spoke with her over the phone to check if there will be mask wearing, since the press will have a field day if they saw me with Joan and we did not have masks.
Oh, Joan Baez.
Baez.
Yeah, she was real big in the 60s and early 70s. She was like kind of the hippie culture.
Dear Diary, I received virtually the Award of Courage presented to me by Julia Roberts from her breakfast room in her home in Northern California. She was so charming. When my image came up on the screen, she gasped and said that every time she sees me, her throat gets dry and she gets nervous and excused herself to go into the kitchen and get a glass of water. This dude,
This is out there for the world.
I know. Can we move that break? I still got more Dear Diary stuff.
Keep going with the Dear Diary.
Dear Diary, press conference after was highly attended. Stock market dropped by 3,000 points, the biggest percentage drop in history. Now that's particularly concerning because you know just as well as I know that the decisions made by Anthony Fauci were driven by multiple things, but within that, outside of his admiration for himself and his drunkenness for power, he was also there on a mission to damage the president of the United States, which he attempted to do in press interview after press interview after press interview. To paint this picture that POTUS was fighting back against him and that he was the science. He knew the science. Donald Trump's not a scientist. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I do. Dear Diary, I'm the smartest person in the world. I just made that part up, but it's probably in there somewhere. Dear Diary, I was nervous all night about having gotten infected in that very crowded restaurant, despite the fact that vaccinated proof was required to get in. I'm well aware many people who are vaccinated are still getting infected, and that worried me a lot. Oh, so you're willing to tell the Diary the vaccinated people could still get sick, but he wouldn't tell the public that because if you got the vaccine, you know, the thing. This is just a small glimpse into a larger diary. And I think Rand Paul put a lot of this on a website that you could probably find on his Twitter feed. But this individual, again, is at a level of narcissism that I don't know that I've ever seen before. It is insane to me. He prioritized hanging out with celebrities over the lives of Americans. And I don't just mean your day-to-day lives. I don't just mean your work or your kids going to school or whatever. I'm talking about life and death as well. He prioritized all that over the well-being of Americans. And in the meantime, used his position to damage Donald Trump and make sure Joe Biden got into office. Because you got to think about it. You have what that allowed Joe Biden to get 81 million votes. It wasn't his swagger. It wasn't his convincing policies and dedicated service in Congress or as vice president. It wasn't because he was a smooth talker. It wasn't because the people of America enjoyed an old, creepy, crusty man touching kids inappropriately or showering with their daughters. The reason Joe Biden got 81 million votes is because mail-in voting was allowed. Because censorship was allowed. Because asking questions about anything related to COVID or voter fraud was not allowed. That's how Joe Biden and the Democrats accomplished what they accomplished in 2020. And none of that would have been possible without the bought and paid for Anthony Fauci coronavirus created in a Wuhan lab, brought to America, and used as the pretext to do all the things that stole the 2020 election. So this is more than just COVID response. This is more than just Anthony Fauci lying about wet market this or lab leak that, or mask work or don't work, or even do vaccines help? Do they keep you from getting infected? Do they keep you getting from sick? Do they ultimately kill you? Do they cause blood clots, pulmonary disease? All of that vitally important, by the way. But those very decisions were set in place to steal an election and to keep one man out of office. If it was somebody besides Donald Trump running on the Republican ticket back in 2020, I don't know that they would have gone this far. They very well, if we would have had a John McCain, if we would have had a Mitt Romney, if we would have had some milquetoast Republican running against Joe Biden, I don't think Democrats would have gone this far. But it was that important to them to keep Donald Trump out of power once and for all, judging by everything they did after 2020, and it backfired on them. Now it's time for accountability. 205-545-9950 if you want to get in. Edwin says, JB, you should do an Angry Shakespeare reading of Fauci's diary.
Ooh.
It's not a bad idea.
No, it's not.
Chris says, Dear Diary, I'm gay. That is all.
That is all.
Greg says, is he a real doctor? He writes in that diary like he's a 16-year-old girl. There's something seriously wrong with that guy. I won't even say man, but a guy. Joe says, does it actually say Dear Diary, or are you adding that? Well, I was kind of adding that part, but
it seemed appropriate. I don't know why he didn't, write that. It's his diary, right?
Well, and he referred to it on Capitol Hill today when he condemned Rand Paul for exposing his personal diary. He called it a diary. And I'm like, you're a grown man. You don't call it, at least call it a journal, I mean, at the end of the day, be a man. Don't write in a diary. Be a man. Because that is a little suspect.
Yeah, it is.
Bubba Rumble's on the line. Bubba, what's up?
Greetings, fellow effing right-wingers.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, man, what a good day for at least to see Fauci squirm a little bit. And I got a little jingle for him. Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines, make them the gayest that we've ever seen.
I love it.
We got to play that song, by the way.
You got to, in honor of the most evil nerd scientist of all the evil nerd scientists.
Didn't we recently played that on the show? And
I think so.
I don't even remember what prompted it. I think I was seeing people online. They were like, "What's your favorite COVID era video?" And so people were. It was kind of like a viral trend, if you will.
Well, so I had questions about how we were able to obtain the contents of Dr. Fauci's gay diary. And earlier today, I had heard that, he's the epitome of arrogance meets ignorance. That's a dangerous combination. And there's nobody that's more arrogant and ignorant than Dr. Fauci. So apparently he put all of his diary entries on government-owned servers, which are actually the property of the people of America. And apparently RFK Jr. was digging around and came across them all and decided it would be a good idea to make them public. So his own arrogance putting that stuff on government servers is why we're even privy to this information now, and I love every minute of that.
Imagine RFK when he came across that, though. He's like, what is this? What is this? This is the gayest thing I've ever seen in all my time.
Yeah, so these hearings are long overdue, and we knew he was going to cop out and plead the fifth, but his arrogance is also biting him in the butt today, and his lawyer got kicked out of the proceedings pretty quickly on into it. So Rand Paul, though I have issues with some of what he does, this is where he shines the most, and same with Josh Hawley. They were ready for this, and they're taking full advantage of it to expose the fraud that is Dr. Fauci. And, as far as my COVID story goes, my COVID story started years before the pandemic ever started. I realized years ago that I was not cut out for corporate employment because I don't like getting micromanaged, henpecked, and having my bosses tell me how to live and what to do. So I was basically ungovernable by the time this all started. So the day the edict was issued that you need to mask up, vax up, and stay at home, the first thing I did was grab my fishing poles and head out to the lake and go do a little bass fishing. And the bite was good that day. And as a bonus, as it happens sometimes, I hooked me a nice catfish on my drop shot rig. And I figured, as another act of defiance, I better just take this catfish home and eat it because they're closing my grocery stores down. So there's my COVID story.
That's good. I like it. A man of his own means.
That's right. And, and my heart really does go out to everybody who was force vagiminated by their employers because of some illegal edict over an untested vaccine in the first place. And, everybody can take this universal basic income stuff and stick it where the sun don't shine. But I'm all about how about some universal basic restitution for the people who were damaged by these vaccines that they were forced to take under duress in violation of our civil and constitutional rights and also in violation of the Nuremberg Code. That stuff has to mean something, or we don't have any rights.
Jerry put on the text line, he said, my wife's health was literally destroyed from COVID and the vaccines that were pushed on her by the people like that. No good. Son of a bitch. He says, I hope when it's his time to go that he has to watch death come for him and he is fully aware of its coming.
I agree. And I wonder if that's Hey There, Jerry There that introduced the idea of Fun King Friday to the show all those years ago.
No, this is Jerry the Angry Trucker. So,
Jerry Angry Trucker. But, you know, there
Jerry.
again, okay, there's a prime example. So their lives have been altered. And, you know, think about all the financial and emotional damage that's been caused to people. And a lot of people were not able to even function and go to work and make a living for themselves. Like, there needs to be a little more than just, okay, we got that one wrong, let's move on. No, I'm not okay with that. Like, people's lives were irreparably damaged by this in numerous ways. And I want restitution, and I want trials, and I want people arrested and thrown in jail. Like the whole Fauci diary thing has exposed that it wasn't no accident. He knew what was going on. And one of my favorite parts I've heard today when he had his come to, well, he doesn't believe in Jesus, but he had his come to Jesus moment when he all of a sudden had a pulmonary infarction in his lung.
Mm-hmm.
How you like that, Fauci?
That's exactly right. Imagine that.
All right, Dan. Me love Hey Now Nation long time, and I hope the people that have been harmed by this vaccine have their day in the sun because, it just really breaks my heart what happened to people because, they were given a choice. You either do this or you get fired and you can't provide for your family. That's evil.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, man. I'm out. I'll let you all get back to it. Hey now.
Hey now. Yeah. So Bubba's right on, multiple fronts. I mean, when it comes to the vaccine, I mean, even here we had a vaccine mandate that was in place that is no longer there. But many companies and employers were kind of bamboozled. It was kind of across the board on a corporate side of things. Like if you worked for a big company, they were going to have a vaccine mandate. And so when I got brought on in 2021, it was still in place, and, they told me, a few days before I was set to start, they're like, hey, you need to get this done. And I'm like, oh, geez. I literally, for 2 days, I sat and talked with my wife and talked to other people about, do I do this? Or do I stick to my guns and say, no, I'm not going to do it? And ultimately, I decided that I'm going to be far more effective behind this microphone and with doing that than I would be sitting at home without the vaccine. So I went and got the J&J. Never did any boosters or anything like that, but I did just enough to get through. And for many people, I think if you got the vaccine and you didn't suffer any vaccine injuries, I think you're incredibly, incredibly lucky. And I hope everybody realizes that. The other thing that was brought up by Bubba was the fact that RFK Jr. learned that after Fauci got a vaccine, he ended up with a pulmonary infarct. It's called an infarction. Not an infraction, but an infarction, which is, some sort of pulmonary deal that's been widely known and associated with the COVID vaccine, known side effects of the COVID vaccine. And do you think Anthony Fauci told anybody about that? Absolutely not. Hid it from the public. With all that said, this gem right here is, we just talked about, the Fauci song. I'm going to give it to you one more time. I would say we're going to put it to rest after this, but I think this one's going to live long into history. This is a young man. He's probably somewhere between 16 and 18 years old. He's at some sort of science fair, I guess, and he wrote a song for Anthony Fauci during the pandemic and sang it while he wore his mask.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. Help all the people who have been quarantined. We'll wear our masks and we'll have to stay distant. We'll wash our hands and we'll be more resistant. Fauci, yes? Promise us, please. We'll have a cure that can fight off this disease. Restrictions will lift with some ease. Dr. Fauci, don't forget me.
Oh, jeez, right? It gets worse every time I hear it.
And he takes a bow.
Dr. Fauci, give us vaccines. That's rough, man. That is rough. But anyway, that's it's one of those things. More, by the way, on Anthony Fauci's diary, I'll give you when we get back. 205-545-9950. That's 545-9950. The Dear Diary version of the line. Up next. Okay. So I don't know what happened during the Fauci song, but apparently it didn't go over on air. It may have just been some technical thing on our air, but trust me, everybody got saved from listening to that song. I probably shouldn't have even played it in the first place. So, wait. Sometimes it happens. But I'm sure it was like super duper awkward for everybody as John Bird and I sat here in silence for approximately a minute and a half.
Well, we could hear it in our headphones. I think sometimes maybe if it's a stereo track, the way we have this set up, it won't come through because sometimes when we play the music, you can't hear one side.
Yeah, because when I pull a clip, it's just random. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. But anyway, we're gonna try it again. I mean, no, we're not gonna try that again. We're gonna try another sound clip because as you go through the diary, there are many pieces of evidence. What I've read you so far is just showing you Anthony Fauci's narcissism. But there are several pieces of information in his own diary that show that he has lied to lawmakers under oath. In one portion, he indicates that he believed the COVID-19 death rate was far lower than what he had been telling the public and what he had testified to under oath. According to Rand Paul, he says, my investigation uncovered that Anthony Fauci kept a diary. He wrote privately, and what he told the country, what he wrote privately and what he told the country are two different stories. Today, I'm releasing his entries from December 2019 through December 2022. While publicly posturing as a champion of science, he was privately directing his staff to destroy federal records. This is a blatant violation and a betrayal of the public trust, and further proof that Fauci engaged in a cover-up from the very beginning of the pandemic. I'm going to ask him about this when he goes under oath Wednesday, blah, 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 blah. On page 19 of the document, he wrote, referencing former CDC director Tom Frieden, Tom Frieden called me this AM, and we discussed various aspects of the outbreak. He and I are on the same page in thinking that this is acting like a bad influenza in its transmissibility, and that the denominator is much greater than 34,000 above, making the case fatality rate, CFR, more like 0.2 to 0.3% rather than 2%. He also complained in the diary that Elon Musk was attacking him on X, and it clearly got under his skin. He said, all of a sudden, Elon Musk has started viciously attacking me with tweets on Twitter. Many people in the press and outside are asking about and concerned about the attacks on me by Elon Musk. It was always about him. Elon Musk said, but my pronouns are prosecute/Fauci. But here's the thing. Like, you don't even have to read Fauci's diary to hear him lying, because if you paid attention long enough in the press, Fauci would go back and forth as far as what the science was. When it comes to masks in particular, one day he'd be telling you to wear a mask. Other days he'd tell you to not wear a mask. In the very beginning, he said masks are irrelevant and nobody should be wearing them.
People should not be walking around with masks. Let me just state for the record that masks are not theater. Wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and masks are protective, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
Mark, there has not been any indication that putting a mask on and wearing a mask for a considerable period of time has any deleterious effects.
There are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course.
You do not need to wear a mask indoors if, in fact, you've been vaccinated. Good that you're vaccinated, but in a situation where you have people indoors, particularly crowded, you should wear a mask.
So even if you are vaccinated, you should wear a mask. That if, in fact, you are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you are protected, and you do not need to wear a mask outdoors or indoors. When the children go out into the community, you want them to continue to wear masks.
You know, if you look at children outside, particularly when they're with the family, walking down the street, playing a game or what have you, don't have to wear a mask.
The Academy of Pediatric actually makes that recommendation that children should be wearing masks from 2 years old onward.
And you're asking now, if your child is a member of your household, can you walk outdoors with your child without a mask? According to that chart, The answer is yes.
But the child can't, not to beat it to death.
Yes.
Okay.
Because now the CDC says, I mean, I think I've got this right. 1 mask is better than 0 masks. 2 masks is better than 1 mask. But you don't have to have double masks. Is that right? I mean,
It became clear that cloth coverings that you didn't have to buy in a store, that you could make yourself, were adequate. And then you want it to fit better. So one of the ways you could do it, if you would like to, is put a cloth mask over, which actually here and here and here, where you could get leakage in, is much better contained.
are you a double masker, Dr. Fauci? It looked like you are.
Can you imagine? I mean, just think back for a minute. We were at a point in society where they were asking you to wear 3 masks. 3 masks!
I mean, how do you breathe through 3 masks?
You got your regular cloth mask. You got your N95. You got another mask that's it's crazy. It's crazy. And there are people still to this day that wear these masks because they're terrified. Crazy. And not only that, they used this to divide people by using fear, obviously. But dividing people based on ethnicity, for one, right? They would come out and they would say, well, if you're African American, you're far more susceptible to the virus. And so you definitely need to be wearing a mask. And so what happens then? Then it gets in everybody's head, hey, you know, I'm in far more danger. And so if I'm out in public, yes, I'm going to wear my mask. But if I see somebody over here that's not wearing the mask, then they're threatening my life. And that's what they want. We know this from history, from recent history, especially how the Democrats operate. They want us at each other's throats. And so that was yet another tactic in doing that, in dividing people. The Democrat Party, which claims to be this party of inclusivity and bringing everybody together and nothing but peace and love, want division more than anything because they know that if the people come together, they can never have absolute power. So they need you divided. They need you scared or afraid of your neighbors, of your coworkers, of the person next to you at Walmart. They need you to think that they hate you or that they want to kill you or kill your grandmother because they're not wearing a mask. All evil, dirty tactics.